You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this online training by Aquaculture. Today is the part 2 on the modern aquaculture techniques for sustainable income growth and development. Agriculture works closely with public and private sectors in Nigeria, also providing service related to agribusiness. As an agribusiness consultant, we map, monitor, survey, market, and formulate strategies for increasing sales in all kinds of agro-products. Our team of business consultants have experience in delivering practical agro-business solutions with a detailed knowledge of all types of farming systems. We help in development of business plan and improving the efficiency of a current system. Our plans are based on practical and informed knowledge of farming and rural activities. Also, we advise clients on strategic business planning and performance monitoring service in exploring their options, benchmark performance, reducing cost, increasing income, and help to ensure long-term business viability through strategic business reviews. However, our products and services include farm lease, farm skill acquisition and training mentorship, farm mapping service, flood and erosion prediction services, e-agriculture and ICT consultancy service, agro-cooperative for funding and support, farm agent and representative services, smart climate agriculture consultancy service. Our service focus on profitable and sustainable farming system that follows the best practice and commercial principles for business, soil, air, environment, and all. We also keep up to date with government policies in relation to agriculture and investment support scheme. The following are the housekeeping rules. Please kindly mute yourself and put off your videos. These will curtail any form of disruption of the training. You can tender your questions and suggestions in the chat box, indicating your name in full, your organization, so that when you make a comment or ask questions, we are able to identify you. At this point, I would like to invite the trainer for today's event to make his presentation in the person of Dr. Abdulaziz. He is a breeder by profession with broad knowledge on agribusiness. He is a master trainer on agricultural development projects, and currently he is the general manager of Crowder Agriculture. Mr. Dr. Abdulaziz, over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular honor and privilege to be with you this afternoon to discuss this timely topic, modern aquaculture techniques for sustainable income growth development amidst COVID-19 pandemic. For those of you who are just joining us today, we're able to introduce to you what aquaculture is, the opportunities, and we also discuss the production systems, of which we talk about the monoculture, polyculture, and then the integrated system. And we also talk about the levels of management practices, which include the extensive system, semi-intensive system, and the intensive system. And we also talk about the criteria for selecting fish species, and of which we all agreed that the fish must have some following qualities, which include the fast growing, accept and utilize properly supplemented feed, must be tolerant to poor water quality, the fish must be easy to breed in captivity, it must attract low production cost, acceptable and marketable to consumers. I will also talk about the requirement for pond selection, and of which we say you should look for suitable places. Okay, then you have the soil that has 40% clay and 60% loam, and I would say that the preferable place for Concrete ponds are where there are, if the sand is too sandy, then it's recommended we use concrete ponds. And we also talk about inviting surveyors to come and survey our farms while the construction is going on. About the water quality management, where we immensely talk about the essence of the dissolved oxygen in the water, how to mitigate it, and how to stabilize the soil pH, and including soil alkalinity and acidity. And today, by His grace, we are going to be talking about hatcheries or fingerlings production practices. It is pertinent to note that before you go into hatching, there are what we call broodstock. Broodstock are parents that are used as breeders, and they can be sourced from different sources. They can be sourced from the wild or from fish pond. So the capture of brood is recommended during breeding when the fish is matured, okay? At least it should be around 0.5 to 1 kg. These are the preferable breeders to use for breeding. And we can equally grow our fish right from fingerlings to table size, where we can use them for breeding purposes. Now, it is very important also to identify the male and the female very important to identify the male and female broodstock. You know, most of the times some people they might find it very confusing to differentiate between the male and the female. It is not a big deal to differentiate them. You will notice that the male and the female catfish are easily recognized due to their morphology, okay? The male sexual, well, once the female is sexually ready for reproduction, you will see a swollen genital opening, as you can see on your screen, okay? The red genital opening inform you that this particular brood is ready for what? For reproduction. So it can be selected, and then for you to identify the male parts, okay, it has a distinct sexual papilla, as you can see on your screen, elongated and located just behind the anus. Okay, so once they are between 0.5 to 1 kg, they are all ready to be used for breeding stock. Okay, so now the choices of artificial insemination you want to choose will not determine the choice of what your brood stock. Now let's look at how we are going to inject our fish for artificial what? Insemination. There are different hormones that are available that can be used to induce ovulation in gravid broodstock. Example of the ovulatory and many others that are available, while some cultural practices can use a preserved urine for over 3 to 4 days for such activity, but it is not recommended due to health practices. So you use 0.5 ml, okay, of this overprint of fish. So if you use 0.25 ml to induce ovulation. So before administering the injection, the head of the fish should be covered with a towel to reduce agitation. Please let the towel be a little bit wet, okay, so that it can regulate the temperature and reduce the agitation as earlier mentioned. The injection should be inserted at the angle, as you can see on your screen, of 30 to 45 in the dorsal muscle in the direction of the tail. The hormone is injected within the fish muscles. So after injecting, we draw the syringe carefully and gently rub the area with your finger to allow even distribution of the hormone. The fish is then returned to the prepared receptacle where it will be left for about 10 to 12 hours before stripping. Now, let us look how we can collect the milk from the male. Okay? Let us look at how we can collect the milk from the male. Milk can be collected by sacrificing the male. This can be achieved by placing the fish on its back and by using a pair of scissors. The abdomen is cut open to expose the testes, and care should be taken not to damage the testes. As you can see on your screen, while dissecting, you dissect very carefully. You pull it off so that the testicles can show themselves for proper pick up with your forceps. You use your forceps to pick it up because it's better than using your bare hands. So forceps is better in picking up the testes. So the intestine should be moved aside to ease the removal of the testes. Cleaning of the testes of blood smear should be done using filter paper. Please don't allow the testes to come in contact with water, because once this happens, the sperm will become inactive. Okay, it will become, because the spore in the sperm, once the water access it, it will now assume that it is now ready for fertilization, and it will just release, and before you know, it has become ineffective. So to avoid that, make sure you don't introduce it anywhere close to water. Okay? So we should try as much as possible to remove the testing of the eggs. Okay, because the time frame, the minutes for fertilization is very, very small, so that you will not, so that your breeding will not be ineffective. So now, what is the ratio of a male to a female? The ratio of a male to a female is 1:4. 1 male to 4 female. The testicles of 1 male can fertilize 4 females. However, it is pertinent to note that you are going to sacrifice the male for the breeding purpose. The females can survive it, but the male are going to be roasted in the pot. Now let us look how to strip the female also. This is the removal of the ripe egg from abdomen by gently pressing several times until a high percentage of the egg are removed. This should be done when the eggs are already running, which is usually between 10 to 12 hours depending on the temperature. The fish is carefully cut from the receptacle. 2 people are required during this operation, and a wet towel is to be used to handle the fish at the tail and at the head region. Okay, as the towel is a little bit wet, the fish should be a little bit flat. Okay, it should be horizontal for easy work stripping of the eggs. The abdomen is gently pressed from the anterior end several times while the eggs are carefully collected in a dry, clean plastic bowl. So after collecting the eggs, that's when you are now to collect the milk from the male fertilization. Now let us look at the fertilization, how it happens. Okay. The egg mass that was collected in the plastic bowl and the sperm cell of the testicles should be evenly what? Distributed. So if you want to distribute the sperm cells from the testicle, please, it should be evenly distributed along every side of the bowl so that each egg can have access to the sperm. This is followed by what? A saline solution of 0.9% to enhance mobility of the sperm cells and fertilization of the egg. Fertilization is completed when clean water is added to the eggs and sperm cells. The water is also used to rinse eggs off the milk before incubation. Now, the incubation process of egg. After fertilization, it is expected that the fertilized eggs are incubated in an incubating unit provided. The eggs are evenly sprayed on a spawning mat, and a constant water flow of rate of about 1.3 liters per minute is allowed to flow through in the incubator unit. Depending on water temperature, the eggs will hatch at about 20 to 24 hours. Incubation should be monitored at regular intervals to check overflow of water and subsequent rules of hatching. What you are seeing on your screen is an example of an incubator. Okay, you can see where the pipe runs through the incubator and where a pipe now is now leading into the tube, taking in water, okay, thereby making the eggs to be in suspension so that they will not be relaxed. So once they're in suspension, it finds fertilized. Now, rearing and hatching of what we have breeded. The hatching are small and needle-like with light green colored yolk sac. At this stage, feeding is not required. At about 3 days, the fish will now absorb its yolk. It is required that the shell and the aborted eggs be removed by carefully siphoning to prevent contamination, predisposing the hatchling to infection by bacteria and fungi. So once you have achieved 80 to 90% of once you have achieved 80 to 90% of hatching, please don't be anticipating 100% because those many ones can lead to diseases, okay, and therefore affecting the available ones that were supposed to be used for production. So you just let those ones go, clean everything off, and then take them to their breeding quarters. So aeration is very necessary, as fry are very active during the early stage of life, and oxygen is also necessary. Okay, so where oxygen is depleted, it is advisable we always introduce available water supply into their ponds so that they can be able to give us a very good yield. Okay, and it is also important not to only aerate but also remove feces and uneaten food which can easily contaminate the water. Okay, you know, at this stage their immunity level is very, very low. So it is very, very important to try as much as possible to look at the health status and maintain the water quality required for their growth. Active feeding commences soon after absorption of the yolk. So at this time, artemia or other fry feed available can be given to the fry for about 2 to 3 weeks. This is then followed by formulated feed with at least about 40 to 45% crude protein. This feed is given until they reach fingerling stage. This is about 6 to 8 weeks old. Please, it is very important to note that whenever we want to start giving our fingerlings their feed, we should have a particular spot and a particular time because they are very sensitive. Once there is change in time for feed supply, they will not eat it. And once there is a change in position of where the feed is being delivered, they will not eat it. So once you are going to start, have a particular spot. Okay, they are just like every normal human being. Okay, if you go to your house, you know the road to your kitchen, you pick your food and eat. Okay, but if I'll come and see food at the roadside of my house, you know I will not take it because I will know it's a plan to poison me. So I won't even allow that to happen. So same thing is applicable to our fish. Them. So now fish health management, as we have discussed in the previous slides, it is very, very important for the maintenance of good fish, okay, critically for what? For profitability. And once this is tempered, automatically we are going to battle with what? Slow growth, poor feeding conversion, low yield, increased disease incidence and mortality. Consequently, low profitability are the results of poor fish health. So we will try as much as possible to maintain good health practices so that we can have high return on investment. Because you know, investing a kobo in a business deserves a return. So nobody wants to invest and lost all his investment. And physiological stress is the fundamental cause of most fish health problems. Okay, and when we talk about physiology, we know what it means. It has to do what with the internal function. Okay, it has to do with the internal function. So therefore, once there is deficit in health management, it affects their physiology. Therefore, every of their function is being what? Hampered. So we try as much as possible to maintain good physiology, good environment, good feeding, so that they can be able to give us what we give into them. And the best way to manage fish health is through what? Prevention. We mentioned this yesterday, and how we can carry out our preventive means. And we talked about the easiest way for such things to happen. So once there is deficit in dissolved oxygen in the water, you know what will happen, okay? And we also inform us that once the pH is below 5, that is what? Down to acidic is detrimental. And we say once it is above 8, it is also what? Detrimental. I will also talk about the temperature, where we talk about 7% to what? 38% Celsius, which is what? Ideal for what? For fish production. So all those things are supposed to be on our fingertips, so that if we are going into this production, we are not going to encounter what? Much problems. So practical health management is based on stress management. So if you can be able to manage the stress, okay, of the fish, then automatically you have won the battle. Okay, so it is very important to try as much as possible to have that in place. Now, after all the stress, after all the hard work, after all the investment, it is now time for harvest. Okay, it is now time for harvest. And we have stages in harvesting of our fish pond. We can harvest partially or totally. Okay. Partial harvesting differs, it depends on the needs of the farmer. Okay, sometimes some farmers harvest for them to smoke because they look at their market opportunity. Okay, some of them believe that at 3 months, their smoked fish pay them better than when they smoke it at 5 months. So therefore, you find such type of harvest taking place. While some people will tell you that no, at 1 kg I make more money. So it depends on the market availability and the opportunity of the market. You know, most of the times I always tell us that the essence of going into this is to make profit. So if at 2 months you can have profit, which is good enough, why leaving it? Okay, just go in, pick the available profit once they are good enough to know to multiply the business upfront. So matured fish can be selected for market sale or family consumption, while the undersized one should be returned into the pond. Okay, periodic harvesting is also included, okay, whereby you just come in, pick some good ones, take them off, leave, because the more you reduce, the more you reduce the population of the pond, the better the productivity of the remaining ones. Okay, so now over the years, people come during harvest, they come to the farm gates to pick your product during harvest. Please, I will advise you, have your weighing scale. Don't be cajole, because those people coming to buy your fish, I'm assuring you 80% of them do adjust their scale. A fish that will be weighing 2 kg, it will surprise you on their scale, it will be weighing 1 kg. Automatically, you are losing 1 kg. So at the end of the day, you see that your return on investment will be minimal, and you start wondering, but the professional say there's profit on it, I did everything possible, but I still lost out. No, you didn't lose out during the production period, but you lost out during what? During the harvesting what? Period. You gave it out to them, you labored for them. So try as much as possible to have your weighing scale, so that once they come with you, I will tell them, please, can I weigh with my own? After weighing with my own, then you weigh with your own. So if my own and your own is not tallying, I owns my fish. Okay, I will keep my fish and anticipate another customer. I think that is very, very important. Now, total harvesting of ponds. This is it is rare in fish farming. Okay, it happens around 3 to 5 years, where the pond needs to be a little bit maintained again. Okay, so in this practice, all the fish are now scooped off. The pond will be dried off, sterilized, washed, okay, so that if there are any emergency of disease outbreak and what have you, it can be controlled, so that it will not lead to what? Death of what? Fish. Now grading has to do with sorting, okay? The first thing to do after harvesting is sorting your fishes. Sort them, grade them. The ones that are big, keep them one side, medium, small, so that if you are pricing, you price accordingly, right? You price, don't just mix them up. You know, the good ones should have good price, right? Followed by the medium and then the class. So try as much as possible to have. After grading these stuffs, they'll come, but this is not even meeting what I'm even looking for. Yes, it's not meeting. I'm not forcing you to buy. Okay, this is what I want to sell it. You have to be, you have to have a winning bargaining powers, because those people who are coming to buy, most especially from the farm gate, they are well prepared for you. They are with their full arsenals to bring you down. Okay, maybe a fish, a 1 kg of fish that's supposed to go for 1,500 or 1,000 naira, they can even bid for it at 400 naira. And if you fall at their mercy, you can just give it away and you start shouting, agriculture is a failure, they have invested in agriculture, there's nothing coming out of it. No, these are the things we need to take into consideration. Okay, and now in sorting also, you need to look at the market preference. Okay, the market preference is also important. Some market prefer live fish, right? While some prefer the dead ones. So if you are sorting, if your preferred market is where they prefer the live fish, you have your bowl, salt and put them inside the bowl with water inside it to maintain their life down to the market where you can be able to sell it at good price. Because preference determines your price also. If you take a dead fish to a market that prefer a live fish, automatically you know you're going to sell at loss. So try to understand your market while sorting. The off flavor arises, sometimes you have to look at the organisms or the algae that happens to move around the fish, right? Okay, minimize the feed waste, regular exchange of water and control of excess algae is very, very important during what? Harvesting. Now, let us look at processing and preservation of fish products. This is one of the strongest value chain in fish production. Fish processing, it can be processed in what? In a different way. Okay, you can process it using the heat or cold or using chemicals and additives, right? And you can also fry your fish. But while frying, you should try as much as possible to fry it dry, right? And using, some people use salting, okay, or yeah, salting. They'll use salting to dehydrate the fish so that what can be preserved for a little bit long time. Okay, now once you have harvested your fish, try as much as possible to reduce injuries, because injuries can lead to death, of which is going to reduce the market value of your fish if it is going to the preference market of live fish. So try as much as possible to reduce the injuries. Okay, and the containers that should be used for conveying fresh fish should be what? Should be free of contaminants. Okay, should be clean. You know, hygiene is very important in fish production. Okay, and if the fish you are going to use is not going to be killed, as I earlier said, make adequate provision for water to keep them in containers that will give them what? A palatable what? Environment. Now, fish preservation, as we all know, is the increment of what? Of the shelf life of the fish. So, advisably, if the market is not giving you what you want, advisably dry it up, smoke it. Once it is being smoked, you can now preserve it over a little period of time, because once there is high, you know, even in agricultural product also work with the law of demand and supply. Okay, the higher the demand, the higher the price. The higher the supply, the lesser the price. So if the supply is high, then you have to withhold yours, so that the market can have some stability, where you can now bring in your product to make adequate profit. Now let's look at the marketing strategy to use in marketing our fish. Okay, before we started, I made us to understand that it is very, very paramount we get ourselves familiarized with our market. What is the purpose of our production? Who is our target market, and at what price are we willing to sell this product? Okay, this is where now our 4 P's now come into play. Okay, now the product. Now we have the product, right? So now at what price are we going to sell this product? If I sell it at 1,000 naira, what is my return on investment? It's very important. If I'm selling it at 2,000 naira, what is my return on investment? But if I'm selling it at 2,000 naira, will they buy it at wholesale market or at Karo market? So you need to know, if it is to be sold at wholesale market, then it needs to be transported. Or am I going to use promotion to sell my fish? If you buy 5 kg, I will give you additional 1 kg. But please, before you go into promotion, make sure you have done all your calculations, okay, that you are not going to fall less of what you have invested. You know, sometimes it's good to maintain customers, but don't maintain customers at the detriment of the investment. Is that okay? So try as much as possible, even though you are going to give out promotions, strike balance. Okay, if this person is buying 10 kg, okay, I'm profiting 2 kg from his purchase, okay, I will decide to give him 1 kg. It is fair. Okay, and we've talked about the place of distribution, which is very, very paramount in the whole game. Now, the conclusion aspect of the whole stuff. We have discussed the necessary value chains in fish production, and interestingly, we know the market for fish in Nigeria is unsaturated. Okay, the fish supply cannot even sustain the demand. So please, it is incumbent on us to look at which aspect of the value chain we want to belong. Is it the production? Is it the processing, marketing, or supply of inputs? Any aspect you pick out of this value chain will pay you. Words of wisdom. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. What are you waiting for? Take a step, establish a fish pond, invite Crowder Agriculture to come over and have a success story of all what you have been doing. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Abdulaziz, for this impactful training section. We welcome questions at this section. Please use your chat box to ask your questions while Dr. Abdulaziz gives answers to your questions. Yes, you can ask your question using the chat box. Okay, Dr. Abdulaziz, there's a question from Mr. Matthew, which says, I had 2 ponds of fish. One is for catfish, the other is for tilapia. The water was renewed at the same time for tilapia and catfish. After 2 days, the catfish were dead. No signs of illness. The quality of the spring water were good or is good. White layer, after the changing of water, white layer appeared after the death of the catfish, then became a condensed. The question is it a sign of the presence of chlorine or mucus related to defense of catfish? Dr. Abdulaziz, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matthew, for this interesting question. But it's the situation, or let me say it is very, very rare, okay, to have such condition. Maybe the pond that is housing the catfish has been exposed to either pesticide or herbicide or a virus attack, and that's why I always inform you. I say, even if you want to use the source of water, try as much as possible they should be free from all these contaminants, because there are some parasitic weeds also that once they have the access into the water, they can still destroy the lives of a fish. So we should try as much as possible to make sure that our source of water are well ascertained before they are introduced into the pond. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for the answer. There's a question from Mr. David. Yes, Mr. David, which says, I'm interested to obtain information about the current state and further development of freshwater aquaculture, which is the trend, the topics, the main problem about the aquaculture. He said, I will be very thankful for any ideas concerning this topic. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much for this question. This is not what we can discuss here now, but however, you can contact us through our mail, info@crowderng.com, where we can guide you through on every necessary opportunity and how to utilize it in the nearest future. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. You have a lot of questions, but at this time we welcome a question from Mrs. Adetutu. He said, please, I would like Crowder Agriculture to manage my fish farm located at Suleja. Please, how can I locate your office, or rather our office?
Our office location is at number 54. And you can also contact at crowderng.com, of which any necessary steps that is needed for us to manage your farm will be directed. Thank you.
Okay, it seems we welcome two more questions. Doctor, there's a question from Mrs. Charity. It says, how much can I get for your service? Over to you, Doctor.
The cost implication varies on the type of services we are going to render to you. Okay, so once you have time, meet us. We'll sit down. We'll give you the guiding principles where you can be able to choose the package you fall into. You know, we can start from establishing a fish pond down to finish, carry out the culturing, even the marketing, and you can decide to say, no, okay, all what I just need is just to establish the fish pond, or all what I just need is how to formulate the feed, or how to carry out artificial insemination. So it all depends on the packages you are interested in. So once you come to our office, all the packages are well stipulated and it will be very, very clear to you. Thank you.
Mr. Samuel, thank you for your question. We says, please, I would like to know what to use to manage water hardness and low pH in hatchery pond to avoid recurring mortality for hatching. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much for your question. In my presentation, I made it clear on how to increase the alkalinity of a pond, right? Once your pond is, if it is highly acidic, I recommended that we should use lime. Use liming, okay, to increase the alkalinity of the pond. And however, if the alkalinity level of the pond is too high, you can use acidic fertilizers to reduce the level down to neutral level. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you, Doctor, for the answers given to the various questions by the participants. Please, let's not forget that cultivation of the earth is the most important labor of man, while when tillage begins, other arts follows. The farmers, therefore, are founders of civilization. Without farmers, we wouldn't have access to food and other basic necessities. Take a moment and really appreciate this profession and all the hard work and decision in farm life requires. As the population continues to grow, the workload of farmers also expands. Please try to implement what we just learned today and take actions. For further information and inquiry, please send us an email to info@crowderng.com or visit our website on www.crowderng.com. On behalf of Crowder Agricultural Team, we would love to thank you for attending today's training. And I do hope you find the learning helpful until we meet again next week for another training, which is mitigating the impact of COVID-19 pandemic through smart animal husbandry. I hope to see you. Stay safe and have a lovely day. Thank you.